Good morning, students. In continuation with the topic frequency diagram, where we were doing different forms of frequency diagram, that is histogram, polygon, ogive. Already we have done histogram and polygon. So today in this session I will be explaining you frequency curve diagrams. Well children, frequency curve diagrams are almost same as polygon, but there is a bit difference between two. So when we talk about frequency curve, we say frequency curve is a curve which is plotted by joining the midpoints of all tops of a histogram by freehand smooth curves. That means under frequency curve, what we do, first we draw a histogram, and after that the top points of a histogram are being joined together. But when we join them with a free hand and we make a smooth curve. That means we do not make a straight lines. So children, there is a basic difference between frequency polygon and frequency curve. That is, both frequency polygon and frequency curve are drawn by joining the midpoints of all tops of a histogram. But in case of a frequency polygon, what we have done, if you all remember, we have joined the points using a scale. That means we made a straight line over there. Whereas in case of frequency curve, we join the points but with a free hand. That is, we make a very smooth curve. So to explain you and to make the things more easy, I have given you a data, and with the data a diagram has been drawn. If you see the data, that is the age and the number of resident has been given. That means that I have given you that the age of the resident between 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 and up to 70 to 80. And in 0 to 10 we have a number of resident who lie in the age group of 0 to 10 is around 150. Then in the age group of 10 to 20 around 300. Similarly like this in 40 to 50 around 1000, 50 to 60 around 900, 70 to 80 we have around 100 resident. So children, now if you see, we have plotted the data into a diagram where on the x-axis age and years has been taken, and age and year from 0 to 80 as it has been given the data. On the y-axis we have number of resident which begins from 150 and the maximum goes to 1000, but still around 1200 it has been taken on the y-axis. Now if you see, already it has been shown that from 0 to 20 the number of the resident in the age group of 0 to 20 is around 150. Then 10 to 20 it is plotted with 300. Then 20 to 30 around 500, and similarly 40 to 50 around 1000, 60 to 70 around 400 and 70 to 80 around 100. Now if you see, a histogram has been drawn first, and after histogram all the midpoints of the top of histogram are being joined together but with a free hand into a smooth curve. And this is how we construct a frequency curve. Right. Now we are going to focus on the next frequency diagram, that is ogive or cumulative frequency curve. Now children, you need to understand this very nicely. So when we talk about an ogive or cumulative frequency curve, it has been constructed by plotting cumulative frequency data on the graph paper in the form of a smooth curve. That means for ogive, we first convert the frequencies into cumulative frequencies, and then those cumulative frequencies are being plotted into a ogive curve. But this cumulative frequency or ogive can be constructed in two ways. That is less than method, or you can call less than ogive, more than method, or you can call more than ogive. So to explain you what is less than method, children, less than method means a method where from the beginning from the upper limit of the first class interval we go on adding the frequencies corresponding to every next upper limit of the series. That means under less than method or less than ogive, what we do, we keep on adding the upper limit of first class interval. That means we take, if you see, I have given you a data over here where I have given you the marks and the number of students. So what we do when we have less than method, In less than method, what we do, we take the upper limit of first class interval as the less than marks. Like upper limit of first class interval over here, if you see, is what? 20. So what we do, we say less than 20. Then second class interval upper limit is 40. So what we do, we add the frequencies on this. Means if we say less than 20, we take 40 because frequency is 40. If we say less than 40, so what we do, we add 40, that is the frequency of less than 20, and 51, which is the frequency of less than 40. So 40 plus 51, that comes to 91. So this is what we do in less than method. Okay, we keep on adding the frequencies. When we talk about more than method, children, in more than method, we take cumulative total of the frequencies beginning with the lower limit of first class interval. That means in more than method or more than octave, what we do, we take the total of the cumulative frequencies. Means whatever will be the total of all the that is of all the cumulative frequencies, that means 40, 51, 64, 38, 7, when we total all the frequencies, what we get, okay, that will be our first, that will be at the beginning, with beginning of the frequency with the lower limit. That means over here in more than octave, we say more than 0, means the lower limit of first class interval we take, that is more than 0. Then second class interval, the lower limit is 20, then more than 20, then more than 40. This is what we do. But when we take more than 0, then in more than 0, we take the total of all the cumulative frequencies. So this is how we find for more than let's say 0 or more than 20 or more than 40, the frequencies are presented making more than octave. So children, there is a difference between less than and more than. A basic difference is that in less than octave, frequencies are added from the upper limit of the first class interval of the frequency distribution, right? We add from the upper limit. On the other, in case of more than octave, frequencies are adding starting from the lower limit of the first class interval. And this is, accordingly, while in case of less than octave, cumulative tends to increase. You'll find cumulative frequencies will increase. Whereas in more than octave, cumulative frequencies tends to decrease. Children, to make this easy and to make you understand, see what I have given you. I have given you a diagram over here, but before the diagram, I have explained you in a form of a table. Now, if you see this table, it has been based on the data which has been given. And over here, we have drawn the table on one side. It has been divided into two parts. On one side, this is less than octave. On the other side, we have more than octave. Then less than octave is further divided into two categories. On the left hand side, you have marks. On the right hand side, you have a cumulative frequency. Similarly, in more than, again, left hand side, you have marks. And right hand side, you have a cumulative frequencies. So now see, we will be doing the same way as I explained you. Let's do first less than. Okay, when we talk about less than, I told you in less than we take the upper limit of first class interval, then the upper limit of second class interval. So we have done the same way. On the basis of the data, we have taken the upper limit of first class interval, that is less than 20, less than 40, less than 60, less than 80, and less than 100. And as I told you that the cumulative frequencies are being added up. So less than 20, our frequencies were what? It was 40. So we have taken 40 because it's less than 20, so it will come with 40 only. But when it is less than 40, what we did now, we have added the frequency of first class interval and the frequency of second class interval. So 40 plus 51, that comes to 91. Then for less than 60, 91, and then the frequency of the third class interval 64, that comes to 55. So keep on adding, children. Now 155, then less than 80, then in less than 80 the frequency is 38, so 155 plus 38 comes to 193, and less than 100 the frequency is 7, so 193 plus 7, that comes to 200. Now if we come towards the more than octave, as I told in more than octave, we take the lower limit of the first class interval, then the lower limit of the second class interval. So that is why we have taken more than 0, more than 20, then more than 40, more than 60, which is the lower limit of the fourth class interval. So children, now if you see over here, I told you that in more than, we take the total of the cumulative frequency. So total of the cumulative frequency is 200, and for more than 0 we have taken 200 to be as the cumulative frequency of more than 0. Now over here what we do, we deduct. In less than, what we did, we added. And that is why I told you that in less than you will find what will happen. In less than, I told you that cumulative will increase, whereas in more than, the cumulative will decrease. See, in less than, cumulative has increased from 40 to 200. Now see, in more than, what will happen, from 200 it has come to 0, because over here we are deducting 200 minus 40, which was less than 20, that comes to 160. Then less than 40, 160 minus 51, 51 is the frequency of more than 40. Then more than 60, 109 minus 64, 45. Then more than 80, it comes to 45 minus 38, because 38 is the frequency of more than 80, comes to 7. And when we talk about more than 100, it comes to 7 minus 7, that comes to 0. So you have seen that in more than, the cumulative frequency is decreasing, and less than, it is increasing. Now children, when we have plotted into a diagram, if you see again, on the x-axis they are marks, and on the y-axis they are number of the students. And for the marks on x-axis, it has been taken from 0 to 100, and on the y-axis for the number of students, it has been taken around up to 200, because our cumulative frequency maximum is 200. Now if you see, the less than curve has been started from 40, because if you see less than 20, from 20 your cumulative frequency is 40. So we begin with the 40 and we are ending at 200. That is when the marks is 100, then it comes to 200 cumulative frequency. So less than octave, it goes up from left to right. Whereas when we talk about more than, you see the more than, it is beginning from 200 and coming down to 0. So in more than, what is happening, the more than octave is coming down from left to right. Children, you can draw these graphs separately also, individual also, where you can show less than separately and more than separately, or you can show both of them on the same graph. So this is how we construct the octave or a cumulative frequency curve.